I thought, one of the big keys tonight was the improvement in our defense the second half. The first half, we gave up over 50%, but the second half, just looking here at the stat sheet, it was 36.7. Thought our guys had a number of really big stops and really competed on the defensive end of the floor. Although we certainly gave up some big second shots, we held the number one offensive rebounding team in our conference relatively in check on the glass, which was, a really big point in our game plan going in, and our guys were able to do that. Couldn't be, more proud of our men. Obviously, Savon had an outstanding game with a double-double, keeps getting better and better. For the second consecutive home game, Bo Barnes makes a big shot. And, and tonight was the first time he was out on the floor since being injured against Washington State, which, shows, a great deal about who he is. To be able to not participate in practice or preparation, and then go out and, a game of this nature and play the way he did. So, any questions, please?
So you guys just seem to show some resilience that maybe you didn't have 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago. And then Trey made a turnover, then comes back and hits the steal, and it kind of happens to you.
We've, I think, learned along the way, and sometimes the hard way. But even before we had some of these kinds of results, when you really inspected things closely, you could see signs of improvement. And I kept telling our guys, even before a result like tonight, I kept telling them, we are getting better. Believe me when I tell you that. You saw it with Trey over the month of July. You're seeing it now with Savon and Jerry. Guys have gotten better. Our team has gotten better. And we played a challenging schedule, starting in the non-conference and then all the way up through tonight. Some lessons, like I said, have been hard learned, but two constants with this team put them in a position to have a chance to enjoy a night like tonight. Number one, always a great attitude. Haven't had to address anybody all season long with respect to their attitude. And number two, their work ethic. Win, lose, or draw, our practices have been outstanding. Guys care and they want to get better. And so those are two powerful components if you want to include.
How does it feel to win a game like this? 16 assists on 23 baskets and only 5 3-pointers.
Yeah, our team, becomes different when we have Savon and Eric in the game together. And, most recently, those guys are playing a good amount of minutes together. More recently, we haven't had those games where we were making 9 or 10 threes like we did at earlier parts of the season, which I think is a good sign, Chris, because, if you're ultimately going to be a really good team, it's good to be able to win different ways. If the only way you can win is if your team makes 10 threes, you become limited. And so what I like about the evolution of our team is we're finding ways to get better, but we're also finding ways other than making a lot of three-point shots to win a game. And tonight, the defense and the rebounding were key. But, our second half offense was really efficient. We shot over 50%. And to your point, Chris, had a very good ratio of assisted baskets.
Why do you think having Savon and Eric in the game together helps your team so much?
Well, the way our team is built, we could play a couple different ways. We could have a very perimeter-oriented team on the floor. And obviously, with Savon and Eric in together, it fortifies our rebounding and our defense. And those guys have become much more comfortable playing offense together. If we go back in time to when Savon first joined us in mid-December, we didn't play them as much together. And when we did, at times stretches, we really didn't have a lot of fluidity offensively. So as time has gone on, our guards have gotten more used to playing with those two guys together. And I think Eric and Savon have gotten better playing off each other.
How much of a factor was it getting Parker and Looney to foul out of the game late?
Oh, no question about it. I mean, those are two outstanding players, two keys for them. You know, we were battling foul trouble on our end. We had Eric and Shaq who had a sit a good stretch in the second half, but you know, we were able to platoon John and Willie, offense, defense, and Bo came in for Shaq, and he and Jerry did a really good job on the wings. So although we likewise were in foul trouble, you know, we ultimately didn't lose anyone to fouls.
How much was it to have a guy like James come back to be honored, but honoring you and the program and the university at the same time?
Well, I mean, our university, our athletics department, and certainly our basketball program, and the entire Sun Devil community just is enormously proud of James. You know, we all knew he was good, just like me. I mean, you guys all sat here and watched him. But I think, you know, if we're honest with each other, there's nobody who thought at this young of an age, he literally would be in the conversation for MVP in the NBA. You know, he'd be one of the very best players on the planet, already have a gold medal. I mean, it's just mind-boggling what he's doing. And the thing that, you know, just makes me feel so good inside is he hasn't changed. He's exactly the same guy as he was when he was here before all these successes. And when he was here, he was a regular student, man. You'd see him with his backpack, and he never met a stranger. He's always nice to everybody. He's a gentleman. And so he just represents us the right way, you know. And so we're obviously really proud. But I got to tell you, man, if you would have said he'd be this good, this fast, and I'm president of his fan club, I would have said, I don't know about all that. But what he's doing is remarkable.
Coach, you've talked about not being able to sometimes play Eric and Savon together because of the foul trouble.
Yes.
Savon plays 37 minutes against Looney tonight, only picks up one foul.
Yes. Well, that's been a concern for us. And at times, depending on our opponents, we've even not started the two of them together because we felt like, boy, we may need 10 fouls. And both of those guys at different points have, you know, been in hot water with foul trouble. So to the extent they could stay out of foul trouble, that helps our team tremendously. But that's something that's always kind of in the back of our mind because we don't have, you know, a great deal of size or front court depth. You know, even when Eric goes out of the game, I mean, Savon's 6'6" and he's playing center, you know, and he's guarding the, you know, like for example tonight, the likes of a Thomas Welsh who's 7'1". But though, you know, to their credit, they've stayed out of foul trouble, and when they have, you know, we've been the better for it.
We made 8 shots without missing.
No, I actually didn't know until the end of the game that shot perfect from the
Take
field.
shots.
You know, it's unbelievable. You gotta take the building back.
Smart.
How did that feel in the context of also winning?
You know, it felt great. Unbelievable feeling, but you know, the win is just icing. You know what I mean? If we lose that game down the stretch, you know, at 20 points, you know, 8 for 8 from the field, that doesn't mean nothing at the end of the day. I'm just glad we got our healthy win.
Having a guy like James in the building, does that give you a little extra oomph at the beginning of the game to get going and do well?
Yeah, that definitely, you know, brought in our eyes. You know, he comes here in the summer, plays pickup with us, works out here, so we get to interact with him a lot more than, you know, your average basketball player because he also wins. But it was a pleasure having him on the sideline. I think that definitely boosted our team's energy, knowing that we had our alumni, you know, he's an NBA superstar, leading the NBA in scoring here, you know, supporting us.
Herb talked to Savon about you and Eric kind of meshing together. How is that coming along together?
You know, I give all my respect to the coach for, you know, being able to take the chance and play me and him together. You know, none of us are really shooters, so and he has John on the bench, who's a senior, so I give all the credit to Coach Harry for playing us together and trusting us to play off each other out there. But, you know, I think it's a win-win because, you know, teams have to deal with us on the boards. And, you know, we're not giving up easy baskets on a defensive end. We do a pretty good job running the floor, playing high-low game, playing pick-and-roll game, helping our guards get to the basket.
You obviously had a very, very short turnaround playing a late game in Washington. That's a long road trip. And to have such a quick turnaround to play a game like UCLA, does you think it shows a lot of maturity of the team to go out and play the way you were, because you probably, didn't have that much time to prepare, and again, it was a long road trip?
Yes, I think our coach Herb, has been giving us a lot more rope to play with, knowing that we're maturing and we're knowing what's important and what's at stake, coming down to the end of the season. We got in late that night, we got a day off the next day, and then we had one day to prepare. So, he tells us, that one day that we have to prepare, we got to come and practice for 2 hours, and, the ball is off the wall. And that's what we do. We focus in on our scout. We went out there and tried to get the job done as best as we could.
How did you keep them off the offensive board?
They're the number one offensive rebounding team in our league. So, Looney and, Tony Parker, they're big dudes, 6'9", 6'10". Parker is a wide body. Looney is more of a lengthy guy, more skilled. So, our whole thing was, we got to hit them before they hit us. We can't just go to the boards like in previous games and just out-jump the ball, because, they're going to be right there jumping with us. So we was just trying to make a consistent effort on hitting them before they got to the boards, and our guards, we all had the game lead.
Herb said that he attributed a lot of you guys' more recent success to just figuring out each other, playing on the court a lot, and knowing your roles and all that. How much do you put into that?
I think that goes without being said. You know what I mean? I think we've been meshing since the beginning of the season. Things like that. You put a group of guys in like us, all from different areas, all respective stars at our old school. It's not going to be an overnight thing that we mesh. You know what I mean? I think the Arizona one really, turned our season around, energy-wise, and coming together and being a collective group out there.
Do you think UCLA was maybe looking past you guys a little bit to Arizona?
I didn't hear you.
Do you think maybe they were looking past you guys a little bit and looking ahead to the Arizona game and all? They kind of started out a little slow.
We don't think about that. All the thing we know is UCLA came in here in April, was playing Arizona State tonight, so we knew we had to take care of business.
Savon, particularly in the first half when you got the majority of your buckets, what were you seeing when you were able to get behind the defense on the baseline and in the interior and you're getting the ball?
I was just telling Trey and Shaq and Jerry on wings, when Trey, breaks their press, there was, I think, 1-2-2 and a little bit of 2-2-1, three-quarter court. I was just telling them, don't hold the ball, get it up as fast as we can. And in the second half, they got out of it because, our guards did a great job breaking the press. But, we have a little dump pass, we have a high-low action with E taking the ball out, sprinting the floor. I got him a quick bucket. I think it was in the second half when they came out in the press again and they tried, then they pulled back from it. So, it's just us going out there playing for each other and feeding off each other's energy.
So you talked about the UAA might have turned your season around. How good do you think this team is right now, and how far can you go?
I'm not making a comment on how far can we go. We're just taking it one game at a time. We're looking at every opponent as it's an NCAA tournament game. So at this point, we're just taking it one game at a time, and we're trying to get every victory we can.